One of the greatest moments in Georgia football history happened 20 years ago this week. We'll tell you more about it coming up as part of our Classic Moment presented by Classic City Lager. Hey everybody, I'm Brandon Adams. Time for the Classic Moment presented by Classic City Lager. You know, this week for years was not the home of the Georgia-Auburn game. That game was played in November. For many, many years, this was the traditional spot for Georgia and Tennessee. And it was those two teams back in 2001 that got together for what turned out to be one of the most memorable moments in UGA football history. It was the touchdown at the end of the game to provide Georgia a top 10 win on the road against Tennessee. The guy who caught the game-winning touchdown, Verron Haynes, thrown by David Green, was on Dog Nation Daily this week, and he described how it came to be that the play known as P44 Haynes led to a victory for Georgia against the Vols that day. Great story here from Verron Haynes. Take a listen to this.
We had ran a multitude of plays in the spring. We had put in a package. But after training camp, we hadn't even ran that play. Usually, you know, for the fans that don't know, it's condensed. Your playbook gets condensed week to week, right? And then there's some variations of it. But that wasn't even in our script, nor was it even had it been ran since training camp. So that was, you know, fortitude for Mark Richt to even call that and saw what it was going to do. Mind you, we called a timeout, and we're down there on the sidelines, and he told Green, who was a freshman, a redshirt freshman at the time, hey, you'll know right away if they're giving us the look. It'll be open. He says they'll be in quarters, which is, you know, safeties over the top of the wide receivers.
Right.
Middle field is wide open. And we had been having success all day running the football up the middle. Why in the hell they thought we were going to run straight up the middle and the linebacker bit so bad? In my opinion, that was the perfect call at the right time.
It clearly was. Green got the look that he wanted. Perfect play call. And Verron tells a great story about when he turned around after being the recipient of the fake handoff, knew he was going to have a chance to catch the game-winning touchdown pass. When he realized how wide open he was, he said he actually got a little nervous about it, but obviously his catch preserves a great moment for UGA history there, coupled with the tremendous, unforgettable play-by-play call by the legendary play-by-play voice of the Dogs at the time, Larry Munson. Of course, forever known as the hobnail boot play because of Munson's great words at the end of that game that Georgia had stepped on their face like a hobnail boot and broke their nose. And obviously, when you think about Haynes, you think about Munson so much. And Verron Haynes on Dog Nation Daily this week actually told us the behind-the-scenes story of Munson in the locker room after that game, looking back on what he had just said and the reaction that he got on national television as he was asked about, where'd you even come up with such a clever phrase like that? More good stuff from Verron Haynes here.
Listen, let me tell you something. You have one of the most legendary voices make a call that he didn't particularly know what he had did that day. Cause as the funny story goes, I only share this when I'm golfing usually, but Larry Munson is getting interviewed in the locker room by CBS after the game, and they first words out of their mouth was, "Hey, Mr. Munson, by the way, what is a hobnail boot?" And he's smoking his cigar, and he's like, "The hell if I know." On national TV, it was epic.
A classic moment from Munson and a great storytelling there by Verron Haynes, the guy who caught the touchdown in the game that would forever be known as the hobnail boot game for the Georgia Bulldogs. If you want to feel old, by the way, seems like just yesterday all that happened. Now Verron's son, Justice Haynes, one of the great running backs, is a part of the class of 2023, so who knows in the future, maybe another Haynes toting the rock for the Georgia Bulldogs with some chance to make some classic moments of his own in the very near future. That's our Classic Moment. It's brought to you by Classic City Lager, and as you're heading towards a football weekend, think about Classic City Lager as a great pairing that goes along with all of that. It's a lager-style beer, which means it's lighter in color, but there's no sacrifice in flavor. Good, bold flavor. It's a craft-style lager. That's what Classic City Lager is famous for from our friends at Creature Comforts Brewing Company. It's just good cold beer. You can pick some up wherever you're doing your shopping today. Available in 6 and 12-pack cans all year long, 365 days a year. So check out some Classic City Lager this weekend. Check us out back here again next week for the Classic Moment presented by Classic City Lager. And I hope you enjoy Georgia Auburn here this weekend.